Ready? We'll call this meeting to order. There's a couple of revisions on the agenda. We need to add approve of recreation hire Bradley Frank. We are moving the swearing in of a police sergeant first, and the petition for composting services will follow that. Okay. So first order of business is to swear Josh Fine is our newest sergeant. Congratulations on your successful completion of the exam, and we're very pleased to have you. I think you've done a fine job to date, and we're looking forward to your continuing service to camp.
I just have to say this summer, I happened to be upon an accident that happened, and it was a friend of mine who had little children, and you were amazing on scene, and we really appreciate all the help that they had for her and for, just taking control of the scene. So we're really excited to have you and have you in a leadership position. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Chief?
I just wanted to say, I've said it to a few of you already, but Josh, when he first came to see me about a job, he requested to come visit me, and I thought it was gonna be about a 10 or 15 minute conversation, and it turned into about 2.5 hours. And it was, when he left, it was amazing, really. I thought, he really is a good guy, and he's a role model to everybody in the police department. Everybody likes him, obviously. We've got a big crowd with him, 20 miles away, so we're happy to have him. We like having him here, and I think everybody in the department is really pleased that he's a supervisor, and he's gonna do really good things, so. Congratulations. I knew you were gonna kick butt in that test.
Yeah.
There you go,
Hey,
Sally.
Chief. So if I can get over there, can I have you just shake his hand again real quick?
For the photo.
You wanna do it after this?
No, sure, I
I
can.
won't go anywhere.
Yes.
So you raise your right hand, repeat after me. I, Josh Ryan,
I, Joshua Vine,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will uphold the support, I will support the Constitution of the state. Can we start over? It's been a great night.
No, that's all right.
I, Joshua Vine,
I, Joshua
do
Vine,
solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the state of New York,
and the Constitution of the state of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of
and I will faithfully discharge the duties of
permanent police sergeant
permanent police sergeant
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability. Okay,
Congratulations.
all right.
Gotta pull the top off.
Good thing he doesn't see.
Perfect.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
We use the mayoral pen.
I know.
That's
Try to take it with you when you leave.
Yeah.
Alright, I'm gonna try to get the TV out of the shot. Perfect.
There you go.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Well
done.
Thank you all for coming.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah, this is.
Thanks, everyone.
And to all of you who are in the corner, there's nothing more important than to have a good support system for our police officers, so thank you.
We would like him back now.
Sorry. Sorry.
There. Thanks for coming, everybody.
This weekend, yes. After that, no.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, everyone.
It's a fun way to
Let's
start the meeting.
see.
Yes.
Upbeat.
Okay, the other one that we move forward, I understand there was a petition to be delivered today. Want to take care of that now? Look out.
You know what the green thing sign?
Okay, and this comes from at McKinney Middle School?
Yes, Canton
Okay.
Central Green Team, Mayor, you came and joined us to
Yep.
do a tree planting
Yep.
last year and very strong and active group. And Greg came and spoke with our group earlier in the year and they were very interested in the composting program.
Okay,
So they were signed in support of that and Lee has put together a little presentation. I don't know if it's available for us to look at.
Yeah.
In support of the program.
Do we wanna, share it
So
over,
you.
on Zoom?
Am I sharing my screen?
Mhm. No, I think, yeah, I think we can just share screen. Yeah. And then if you go to, oh, I don't use Google Slides, where's
View.
the
View slide.
view
And then
and then slideshow?
Nice.
There we go. All right.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Today I'm here to talk about how good it is to have a footbin. Here are some reasons why you should not take away our useful footbin. First of all, compost is good for our environment. It can feed plants and animals. When we compost, we can put worms in it. The food scraps will go through the worm's body and they'll break them down into smaller pieces, which means it will make it easier for bacteria and fungi to break them into soil. And that soil is going to be very nutritious and natural, which means it will be chemical free and will be good for the environment and the soil. Second of all, it will also be good for our sports economy, helping to save money from buying lots of fertilizers and from stores, which kind of costs money. So using all the money we save from fertilizers, we can use it in other different ways. Third of all, if you notice all the pollution, have you noticed all the pollution that's going on? Part of it comes from the landfill. If we want to help decrease climate change, we should first decrease the amount of trash in the landfill. Did you know that 28% of the trash in the landfill can be composted in Indiana University? That means if there are 100 piles of trash in a landfill now, 28 piles can be composted. That'll sure save a lot of space. Also, when we put those things on the ground for long, they'll create a gas that can make it an explosion. I know that workers can remove them, but what if they missed a piece of trash pile or a few? That'll definitely cause some damage to the ground. Also, burying it on the ground means they'll harm the soil underneath it. It could make the soil useless. So these are my reasons for why we should have footbins. I think we really should have a footbin and try to help the world and also have some benefit for ourselves. I hope you too would agree with me. Thank you so much for your time and patience. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Have a wonderful rest of your evening.
Well, thank you for delivering that. We will be discussing these things further down in our agenda. And but we wanted to put you right up front so that you had a chance to present this and not have to wait. So, thank you.
If you want to duck out.
Yes, it's okay. to
Yes.
leave.
Yeah,
We understand that perhaps we don't care about the rest of
Yeah,
it.
it's all good.
But-
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Bus. We
Yes.
want the door open
I
now.
do want you to know.
Thank you.
Lee, I do want you to know that it's really important, that our youth have a voice. So I appreciate you coming, and it means a lot to all of us that you came to present today. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Rest of your evening.
Good job. Thanks. Okay. Now we'll move along with our agenda.
Yeah.
First item is to approve minutes from August 16th and August 23rd.
So moved.
What, sorry?
You have a change?
Second. You can second it, then you can. Need a second?
You got one.
Okay, something that you wanna,
On the minutes from the special meeting, the spelling of my name needs to be correct.
Scandalous.
was it your first or last name?
Yeah, was it Anna?
Yeah.
Sorry.
And that's it. That's all right.
Okay.
It is important, that's why I said it, I was like, oh, I should have cut that much sooner.
Don't cut.
With that correction. You all approve?
I,
Favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Department head reports. Let's go. Oops. Okay, first one up is the Park Run Golf Course. No one's here.
I talked to Kevin,
Okay,
today actually for about an hour and a half, so.
how are we coming on that contract?
I think we could make some progress. We need to have a discussion about some things.
Okay,
I did tell him, like, I would just say, he referenced, in his report, his marketing plan for 2024 that had been a question. And in the contract, it actually says that's supposed to happen. He needs to present a plan to us in January so we can approve it for our budget. But he does have money in his budget for this year. He really hasn't spent any money on marketing because he wasn't aware that it was in fees and services was the line where that was. So if he wants to advertise in March or April, he has money to do that because it's in this year's budget already.
okay.
So I did
Good.
tell him that, and he has a plan, and he's noticed a big uptick in the Canadian market. He had a group there when I was there, 24 guys from Canada had come down, so
Today.
today,
How about that?
yep. I think with the relaxation of the border, it's been a lot more, and he sees that as a really big potential to get back that we lost during the pandemic. So I would say, we definitely.
Okay.
can I ask a question about this that maybe you know the answer to, maybe I don't know?
I don't.
In his report, he says something about Scott and him wanting to know total operational expenditures. And I'm confused by that, cause I feel like they would know that, they would
Well,
know
they-
that.
they get copies. They get
So
copies of
what is it
budgets.
that they're missing?
Well, I think he does, I don't think they necessarily get revenue reports. So
It's all on the report, right?
is it, I have it, I don't
can
have it
ask
with
him.
me.
Yeah. Yeah,
It would
there's
help
some
for him to
confusion
clarify, but-
here.
And some of it has to do, I explained to him too, like, some of it has to do with like, what Scott really would like is a line for, like fertilizer. It's all comes
Very
under
specific.
chemicals.
Mhm.
It's much more specific because it applies to different things. I said, well, I'm not really
You can do a
sure.
spreadsheet.
Well, he could. I mean, I didn't say that, but they were just talking about the existing reports. And all those codes that we have, is this a thing that New York State has established for municipalities? Is what I thought, that the accounting world is not thinking about what golf courses use.
Right.
Well, they may be trying to drill down
They are,
very specific.
they are.
We don't get
right,
that specific.
right.
Right.
Not in the budget report, we do not.
But they can see all their bills and they can establish their own,
Right.
whatever they
Right,
want.
so we probably just need to point that out more about their own capability to make a report, given what they.
Okay,
So,
Okay,
okay, great.
next one, is up, Tim.
Oh.
Yeah. Next on my list, is-
Oh.
Yeah.
well, Tim Bacon. I was looking at you, not him.
Shoot.
Right. So, we've had a lot going on. Obviously. We got the new used vac truck, which we've been struggling with since I got here. So that was kind of cool. Took delivery on it last week. We're working out some bugs with it. It came from another municipality, so we're going through it, making sure everything's operating the way we want it to. And it's 5 years old. We're using CHIPS money that will be reimbursed this fall to pay for it. So essentially that cuts into some paving we could have done. We did just as much paving this year as we did last year, actually a little bit more than that. We did about 95,000 this year. We've had a few years of rollover in CHIPS, so we use that to bring this because we've had a hard time figuring out how to actually finance a new one, which is 525,000. So, and we got this for less than half of that. So hopefully a good move. It's a real clean machine and will be put into use pretty soon. So that was kind of a cool thing to actually have moved forward. You'll see a lot of sidewalks torn up. Now the paving's done, they're cleaning up some of those projects now. The flashers, luckily finally got installed at the Judson Farmer intersection and now at by Pleasant. I think that concrete might be going down tomorrow for that sidewalk area there. We've had issues with as well. Flooding a household right there since the raised crosswalk was put in. So we just raised that whole sidewalk. I think it was about 6 inches.
Unintended consequences.
Yeah. So
Looks good though.
that was
The
just
crosswalk looks good.
something else that we're kind of playing with. Just kind of skimming through. I attached updated timing for brush pickup in the report. But it's in the shared files. It starts in a couple weeks. It'll go until Thanksgiving week. But as all of you know, we've been still picking up all summer regardless of what I stated that I was trying to do or not do. For example, we had a demo truck with a large body on it, dump type body and log type grapple. They came up and we ran it around for probably 6 to 7 hours yesterday. So we really got full use. He picked up a ton of brush in bags and everything and it was kind of a neat thing too. A lot of times they'll demo is, oh yeah, here, 2 seconds, but this company was actually willing to let us go out and physically use it. I used it for probably a good hour or more till I felt comfortable and want to get a good feeling to see if this piece of equipment would save us some manpower and having multiple pieces of equipment on the street at the same time. Right now, when we start cleaning up, it'll be like 3 days-ish, 5 guys each day, 3 pieces of equipment. And I think I could possibly cut this down to 2 guys, 2 to 3 days. And maybe a third rolled in there with an extra dump truck once in a while, because this thing you can pull up next to it with another dump truck and load another truck right from that as well. So it's just something, an alternative scenario I was looking at to see if we can streamline a little bit better. Other than that, Dave's retired now, everybody knows that, and Scott's he stepped up, he's really cruising right along. I'm sure you guys have seen him around. He's busy, so busy and seems pretty happy, so it's always positive. Anything that I missed or you guys have a question on? I know, Anna, we're gonna get into infrastructure stuff, but we'll save it.
Yes, but I don't know about this particular
Okay.
question. Do you know, did you hear back from Barton and Judas about the IUP and where we are on it and what that means?
Yes, they're digging into it.
Okay,
They asked EFC for a breakdown.
okay,
They said it was good, very
Right.
positive that we're on hardship. which
Yes.
Scored hardship.
right.
Outside of that, that's 30, was it 34?
The
scored?
number was 34, which
Yeah.
unclear what that meant at all.
Yeah,
Okay,
they're supposedly working on that for us because they were not exactly sure either, other than,
What 34 means.
what 34 means.
The magic number.
Yeah,
Cause numbers were
And then-
lower and
and then-
considerably higher. so-
right, and then the grant announcements will be later in the fall.
Correct. Okay, thank you.
Couple positive comments from, on paving, people on Clark Street real happy that the paving was done. And the people that live at the corner of Pleasant and Judson really appreciate that you're raising the sidewalk.
Oh, good,
Helping out, they're
Yep.
very appreciative then, so, good job.
thanks.
Some of the folks that were, wondering about lower stage are also coming back around to say that it looks good, so,
I ruined their.
yeah.
And complete streets, and Scott said something, we've kind of struggled, we're trying to do a project with complete streets and put down temporary paint. It didn't last, it was much more temporary than we all anticipated. With first rainstorm, it was gone. So, I think we're just gonna revisit that and see if we're gonna try something that's a much more permanent paint. At least try to get a few months out of it, or
Yep.
what they wanna do.
Yep.
We're just waiting for
We're
their
working on it, yep, thanks
advice
for,
on that again, and
thanks for all your help with that, Tim, yes, appreciate that.
Anything else?
Nope.
Okay, historian, she's not here, she has taken care of a sick person, I think. What I understand. Let's see. Animal control, he's not here.
Can I ask a question about that anyhow, though? That report, that was a July report,
Well,
we got, alright. Just noting it,
more to follow,
got it.
On that subject though.
more to follow.
Okay.
How's that?
Moving
That's
right
fine.
along.
Moving right along.
Moving right along.
Recreation,
Alright.
how's the ice coming, Megan?
It's still ice, so it's good.
As long as it's not liquid.
No, it's not liquid. So summer programs wrapped up on August 25th. Another safety night. Frank Colombo, who does our karate classes, he does 1 or 2 of these every year. He has best numbers yet with 23.
Great.
It rained that night, so we had to go in the Riley room, so it was a little tight, but we were able to make it work, so that was good. Hosted the Rock and Mineral Show again. They tied their record year for participation, as of last year, so it was about the same numbers. Vendors were very happy. They had perfect weather, because sometimes August and hot and humidity, you do not want to be in the pavilion because no airflow, but it was beautiful. It was 70 degrees and everybody had a good time. So that's good. Let's see here. Taylor Park is all closed, wrapped up for the season. We were able to stay open through Labor Day. We had a few weird hours, but, when you have 5 lifeguards, they're all in swim team, they all practice at the same time.
Yeah.
So we had to be a little creative, but we made it work. And then, yeah, we took out, DPW helped us bring out our swimming dock, and then, Wilcox came again with their crane to remove the kayak launch, and they donate their services for that.
Oh,
Um,
that's very generous.
and so it's kind of like it's like an unwritten agreement, even though they give me an agreement. So so it's nice. So they come and they donate their services to put it into that.
That's really
Wow.
nice. Yeah.
So we got that done. Let's see. Hiring. Woohoo. So, we'll hear about it tonight. We finally filled our part-time winter labor position. Position's been open for 2 years without any application, so it's nice to get that filled. And right now we're hiring for a permanent full-time laborer. I think everybody knows because Bobby chose not to come back. So we're doing interviews for that tomorrow. So, and ice season starts next week, so it's great. So yeah, we started making ice on we turned the compressors on the 15th. Started making ice on that Sunday night, so the 17th. And it was a whirlwind since we were shorthanded. But we got it in. We were a little loopy at the end of the night, but we got it in. And we're all on schedule. We should be able to open next week. Our long-term groups, they're not starting until Thursday night. But we'll open for some open skates and open hockey just to get some people through the door.
So the fifth? Is that? Next Thursday?
I think so,
Yeah.
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 Figure skating's gonna come in for a little session, and then Canton Minor Hockey has some stuff on Friday night, so. And then Saturday is a full-blown schedule, so we'll be right into it. Still short staff, but that's okay. We'll make it work. Ryan knows what's coming his way, so. And then, other than that, so this year, Grass River Real Estate, they are gonna sponsor Sunday Open Skate again. They did that last year. It provides free admission to everybody. And new this year, we're gonna have a regularly scheduled open skate on Saturday. Sundays always had a regular skate, so I worked it out with Canton Minor Hockey where we can have a slot on Saturday. The only time we won't have it is if like the boys varsity have a tournament or something like that. But I think that'll be really nice. Sunday's always popular because it's always at the same time every week. So I think people will really like that. And then I provided you with kind of a summary of summer programs. You've got all the numbers there. The biggest thing with swim lessons, we changed the format this year. And we saw basically just a huge increase in efficiency with it. So last year, kids would come either on a Tuesday, Thursday, or on a Monday, Wednesday, and they came for 5 weeks. So total, they got 10 lessons. This year we switched it and we did 2 separate 2-week sessions. So parents were able to pick which one, and they came every day, Monday through Thursday. So they had 8 lessons. So even though they had less lessons, more kids advanced in their swimming level because they were getting more consistent repetition.
And you had some who did all 4 weeks too.
We had a lot that did all 4 weeks. Probably we had 37 do double sessions, and we probably have about 15 of those added on after the first session because the kids were progressing so much. So it was very successful. And then let's see. Then you got summer revenues. Arena was down this year for summer revenues, mainly because we had the ice in longer, so we missed out on Pee Wee revenue. They used to use inside for lacrosse and baseball and softball. And kayaks were down, and that was mainly, I would guess, because we had thunderstorm warnings every day this summer. So that's probably a good thing that they were down. But overall, we were up, so that's good. Anybody have any questions?
All set. Thank you.
Thanks.
Assessor.
Hi, good evening. Let's see. I guess I want to start out talking about the enhanced star credit check. They were mailed last week, and I hope everybody has received theirs. And the basic star credit checks have been mailed. They're supposed to mail them out in August, and I don't know what happened, but they ended up doing it in September, and we started getting a lot of phone calls because people were getting their tax bills and they didn't have their credit checks yet. And then I would like to talk about the enhanced star credit check versus the enhanced star exemption. As you know, the exemption comes off the school tax bill. Well, there's a big savings between having the star credit and having the exemption. These, right now, the star credit check is $1,264, and having that was the exemption. Okay, the exemption is $1,264, and the star credit check is $1,368. So there's a big difference. There's about $104 that you would receive more if you were getting the star credit check, and it's going to go up every year by 2%. So I know it's convenient for everybody to have it come off on their school tax bill, but they might want to reconsider getting the enhanced star credit check, because the savings $104, and next year it's going to be even more than that. So something to consider. And I guess I don't know how to get this out without putting this in my report. I've done that. If maybe the paper wants to put it in the paper, would be a great idea. I don't think it's here, but
Tom's here.
Okay, and
In
it's
the-
been a big shock. People have been getting their school tax bills and apparently their assessment went up. And they were calling me, telling me they didn't know, or they didn't know what to do when they got their notice, the change of assessment notice back at the end of April, beginning of May. And I can't express how many the dates of, I know because that's my job. But to get it out to the public and a lot of the people, they don't know, they don't know, they get a change of assessment. Whatever someone told me they didn't get the change of assessment and that's why the legal notice is out there to protect us, to say, okay, come check the tentative assessment roll, know what your assessment is, know what your school tax bill is gonna be in September and what your county tax bill is gonna be in January, and that's for the village in June. I just don't know how else to get these dates out to the public. If anybody has any suggestions, I'll take it. I mean, I try to educate the public. I have pamphlets upstairs about what the equalization rate is, how to file for your exemption. I have a lot of information out there. I want to educate the public. I want them to know what they should know, and it's scary when someone comes in your office and they start screaming, my assessment, I can't pay this tax bill, I didn't know to come in, and I said, well, you're gonna have, at this point, I can't do anything, the roll's closed, and that's what it is. But next year, I come in and the first 2 weeks in May, I run the informals, come in, talk to me, we'll relook at your assessment. Like I said, it's an estimate. I told you guys time and time again, it's an estimate. It's not exact science, it's not exact math. We give it a number and we say, okay, we think that's what the house should be valued at. And if there's something more, I don't go inside the house. That's another problem. Not like an appraiser, because Tim was an appraiser. I don't know if you knew, but and I was too back years ago. But you go inside the house, you get to see the house, you get to know what the value of the house is, and we do everything from the road, But I just want to let the public know I'm here. If I could maybe make a meeting at the library or something, or any suggestions you guys have, I would take it, if we could let the public know what dates or when to file and when they could, and if they're not happy with the informal meeting with the assessor, then they go to grievance, which is the 4th Tuesday in May. And if they can't get anywhere with the Board of Assessment Review, then they go to small claims, as a residential. So I guess I just wanted to say that. And anybody have any questions about my report?
I don't have questions about your report, but I'd be happy to brainstorm ways to get that information out. One thing I'm thinking is that, we could partner with the school.
Yeah.
And see about sending home, at like kind of the right time, whatever you think the right time of the year is, send something with that information and those dates home. Maybe, do a couple of meetings in a couple of other, places, but I think less meetings, maybe more, I don't know.
All I would say is the school is doing their budget then, and they do not like to be linked to the assessment, which they have no control over. And when people are mad about their assessment, which is the same time, then they vote no on the school budget. So I don't know, you might get a little pushback on that, but it would be, I think theoretically, it is a way to reach.
Get the word out.
Yes, it
Yeah,
is.
a good time would be probably like in February, like right before taxable status date, March 1st, everybody's got to get their exemptions in, and then.
Well, that would be better than say April.
Right.
Right.
Okay, and
Definitely.
I would.
And maybe,
I feel, down in Horseheads in Chemung County, I had the real property tax director come with me and we did a presentation down there, about you know, the dates and filing for,
Mhm,
you know,
mhm.
so.
Even
Yeah.
you know, even, I mean, I don't know any specific events that time of year, but even if you had a table with, ask me questions about, you know, your
Mm.
tax assessment.
Yeah,
And
Yeah.
have your brochures right there where people are there for another reason, but some of them will go by and say, oh, yeah. I mean, it might, you'd have to look at the calendar, maybe even something with Winterfest, that's in February, so, I don't know. We'll think about something, I
Okay,
think Anna's idea is good, right?
okay, yeah, because like
Get a
within the
banner in
next
the
couple of
park.
months, I'd be open for that.
Do you know
Mhm.
what your assessment is?
Seriously.
Any other,
Banner in the park.
Something, yeah, that would get attention.
any other questions
Okay.
for?
let's talk about,
Yeah.
well, we can come up with some
Okay,
ideas and chase
okay.
them
I
down.
know I put things on the website. and
I know,
I
but
don't think
I
people
don't,
look at it, you know.
A
no,
banner in the park.
a
The only
banner
time
in the
people
park.
Came and
Yeah.
look at something is when they got the tax bill and like,
Yep. Mhm.
Marquee.
so.
Even if you had a
Marquee,
banner
yeah.
that said,
Yeah, the
what did your
marquee is
assessment look
is
like?
very effective. That's not a bad idea, the marquee.
Mhm.
People look at that.
Yep.
All the
They
time.
drive by there, everybody looks at
Stuck
it.
at the light.
Yep.
Exactly.
Okay.
Okay. Yep, the other Tim.
The other 10. Yeah, things have been busy. There's been an uptick in permits, had 19 permits, last month. It's been busy. Busy at Law Lane with certificate of occupancy. There's, been a lot of remediation over there at their dwellings for, water damage and mold. Fire safety inspection at 5 State Street. That was a little scary.
When did you do that?
That was the 20th.
Is there still,
I actually condemned it, that apartment today.
okay, that's what where I was at.
Yeah.
Okay.
I took care of that. Been busy with variance hearings, area variance at 22 Pleasant and sign variance at Park Place. Then the Presbyterian Church, they want to put up a EMC sign. I believe that was granted. And Drex wants to alter the roof sign. That meeting didn't. They basically booked 3 hearings in one night, so Drex wasn't heard. They're gonna come back on the 3rd for a follow-up hearing.
I'm glad signs aren't on this table anymore. Really.
Thank God.
Yeah, it's quite involved, more
It is.
involved than you would think, signs.
No, we know.
Mhm.
Believe me, we know. Yeah.
Mhm, we did a few of those.
Huge.
We know.
Yeah, you know the gruesome details.
Yeah, no.
Had some tall grass complaints, let me see, 46 Buck Street, a person was complaining about their apartment had no, smoke or carbon monoxide detectors. That was all resolved. I'm setting up a fire safety inspection with that property to do all their properties, all their buildings. Received a, RFP response from a company called Intuitive Municipal Solution for the NYSERDA grant software money, code permitting software. That person was crazy high with their price. And I did email everybody some of those details. Anybody have any questions on that?
Well, I mean, do you have a recommendation as to which way you'd like to
I
go
think
now?
With Civic Plus, is my top choice.
And remind us how much that grant funding is for the software?
I believe it's 125,000, I believe.
So, and I don't believe there's an end, like a spend by date.
I don't think so.
No.
I have to look into the details, but that's
So-
grants to help support things like that.
Exactly.
So that's what it was applied for.
Mhm.
Well,
And that's an annual cost, correct?
And that's right.
yeah, but it's like the industry standard, like iWorks was 6,900. And for the same. Product. And, Civic Plus, they already have our data
Mhm,
and the implementation would be, 2 to 4 weeks.
mhm,
Much
Quicker than anybody else.
iWorks would be 60 days.
mhm.
And then these other companies were really couldn't give me firm date on implementation. And their implementation costs were,
Ridiculous.
but it looks ridiculous, but that's actually an industry standard.
Is that right?
Like if we were not,
$100,000.
if we were not already a customer of Civic Plus, we would be in that range.
Okay,
And I mean, the guy at
so it's like a conversion cost?
Yeah.
Okay,
and
that makes more
training and
sense,
things
yeah,
like that.
yeah, got
Like
it.
the person I talked to, at IMS, he was telling me that Civic Plus was a really good deal.
Mm.
And he said, they wanted like $100,000 to do it. And he said, for this kind of software, this is what it cost. I mean, and we're fortunate that we got in on the ground floor, like Rusty got into this, like, almost 10 years ago.
Early on, yeah.
So staying with them, I think, is probably the best way to go. And there's a lot of code, there's a lot of municipalities in our region that use this software and really like it. And the other thing, the town uses the same software. So like if you're dealing with the same contractors, you're gonna be compatible.
That's nice.
And especially if we implement, there's like portals that the public can, I haven't used it yet, and Mike is planning on probably getting it online at some point, but it's a way for the community to be able to access the code office, that they could submit permits, applications, they could submit their insurance, it'd be really effective.
Save a lot of time.
Oh, yeah. So that's the whole
Nice.
purpose, because you're not passing the paperwork so much. I mean, it looks like a lot of money, but it'll be a time saver. It's just like getting a piece of equipment that just makes your job more efficient.
So, I know you had to go back and forth with them quite a bit, to sort of get down to the details of it.
Yeah.
Are you satisfied that for that price, you're getting all of the modules that that you need, that were called for in the RFP? So
I think so. Like, especially in the scope of services, I believe
Okay.
it's going to cover a lot of that.
Well, that 125,000 will pay for several years of this, so
Good to know.
that's, certainly also a bonus with not having that implementation cost, is that then, but it is an annual contract with Civic
Yeah.
Plus, right, only?
Yeah,
Okay, good.
and the town's cost may also go up.
Certainly.
Well, that's,
I mean, when they get their new contract,
Right,
so they tell me it's.
but you don't anticipate the Civic Plus, for us, like this should be about the cost going
Yes,
forward.
there could
Okay.
be like, they did indicate like over time, there could be a 2%
Mhm,
raise in cost over just
probably
the
annually,
cost of doing business and.
yeah, okay. Great, well, I'm glad
okay
we've,
for him to move forward?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, great.
thanks.
Do you want a motion?
I don't know that we need one, we can do it.
No,
Or you spend the money?
Yeah. Well, it's, grant money.
yeah, so moved.
Second.
Uh,
I
Klaus
second.
seconded it.
Yep. All in favor?
I,
Thank you.
Any opposed? Okay. Anything else for Tim? Well, let's see, eeny, meeny, miny, moe. How about the chief?
Hi.
Big day.
Yeah.
Should probably open the door when I was.
Here, I'll get a door.
Okay. It's quieted down quite a bit.
The party's
Lot
all
of,
done,
lot of rah-rah going on.
which is great.
our newest officer, Paige LaRock, is doing quite well at St. Botstan's Police Academy. I was over there teaching on Monday morning.
Okay.
I got to talk to the director, and she's doing very well, so. Good on that front. The other thing I wanted to bring up, and I wanted to make sure the mayor, we talked about the grant that we got.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, we got our, we put in for a new fingerprinting computer system. It's called LiveScan. We have an old version of it that we've been suffering through for a while. We got our grant approved, first part of the week, $30,200. So that'll cover the entire, all the equipment, and it'll cover 2 years of maintenance and service fees, so. It'll be a savings for us, plus it also, it's nice because it's just like, we'll be able to tie in with the sheriff and at the jail. So if we have somebody that happens to be at the jail, we can actually fingerprint them there rather than bring them down here. It also speaks to our Spillman system, which is our police reporting system, so it's just a lot smoother and.
That's awesome.
Great. Yeah, I'm pretty excited about that. So that's all I have unless there's any question.
Go ahead.
I had a couple of things. First, I had the occasion of receiving an email from somebody that began with, I got pulled over.
Oh.
Which you never know how that's gonna go. But in this case, actually, they wanted to let me know that they were really quite appreciative of the professionalism, the demeanor, the intelligence were words that were used of the officer. And I just wanted to take the time to let me know that. And so I just wanted to share that with you because it certainly made me happy that, you know, when people share the good things that happen
They're
as
so happy to
well.
share the bad ones.
And you know, I know how hard you work to, you know, create the culture that you do. It's nice to see that
Yeah.
paying off.
Thank you.
So that was the comment. Also, I wanted to ask you, does Spillman have the capability that you can, like sort of aggregate, you know, the incident types? And you can like aggregate that over time so we can see change over time, like if we're getting more of something, some particular kind
Maybe.
of call over time?
Some reporting is really easy to go in and just bang it out, and then there's a whole other arm of it that's.
Uh-huh.
If I had hair, I'd pull my hair out, trying to figure out
Trying
some
to-
of that stuff.
okay. Yeah,
We're trying to figure out something else entirely different for the court
Uh-huh.
right now, so.
okay.
I can look into that.
Yeah, certainly, I mean, I just think it would be interesting. We get these reports. I always look at them. They're very interesting, but
They
it
are.
starts to be hard to know what kind of sense to make of it because I can't tell if, you know, is something happening in our community more frequently, less frequently, you know, and like, certainly I could figure that out if I sat all down and did the math, but also not a
Drugs are up,
good.
homelessness is up.
Right, yeah, exactly.
but yeah.
Right,
I'll
right.
make a note of it.
Yeah, I mean, thank you. I appreciate that.
I just had one question. You mentioned in your report, and this is just a curiosity thing, that you attended. And I think, is it monthly, an elder abuse Zoom meeting?
Yes, it's something that, I met the lady that runs that. She's actually, she's in Malone.
Mhm.
I met her at the monthly, sometimes bi-monthly, St. Lawrence County Domestic Violence Task Force meetings. So she was looking for law enforcement to get involved, so I jumped on the bandwagon and thought that was pretty cool.
I just was curious, is that a growing problem? I mean,
Oh, yeah.
locally, yeah?
Well,
Really?
I mean, yeah, it can be. It's pretty interesting. It just gives you a lot of new tools
Okay,
to know if someone has, for example, somebody goes in and takes a relative's savings who happens to maybe be.
so
in
like
nursing home.
financial crimes.
That's one thing that they,
Yeah.
you know, but they have actually forensic people that can actually go in and really help our case out, you know, they can really help us out a great deal in
good.
that regard.
Good.
So that's just one thing, but there's lots of other, there's people from the banking industry in this task
Mhm.
force, law enforcement, social services. So it's a really good blend of people, so
Yeah.
I'm still fairly new with it, but it's an interesting group, so I'm happy to be part of it. So.
Mhm. That's interesting. I thought that was an interesting thing.
Yep.
Thanks.
Anything else for Jim? Okay. I find it. Last but not least,
Thank you. I did, you've got my report. I did want to point out, that you caught the health insurance rates are going up 14.1%.
So
Yes,
is
That's-
yes, I
that
did catch that.
like calendar year or our budget
That's
year?
calendar year.
Calendar
So
for
almost
Oh,
January,
dear.
so that,
January, so
that-
it's half of our budget
I was gonna
year.
say it's blowing a little hole in
Yeah.
our budget.
That was gonna
Right.
be my
Right,
question.
and we don't even have the Medicare rates. We have several retirees on the Medicare
Right.
supplemental program. So we don't even know what that is. We're not
Is
expecting.
that October 15th or,
That's,
or December 1st?
well, they're supposed to already be out, but they haven't been released yet.
God.
Right, we've had to send out our credible coverage letters.
Yeah.
But
Even though we
haven't
don't know
got-
how much it
We don't know
costs.
how much it costs, right? Right, so, 14.1, we were
That's good.
planning, a normal is 9 to 10%. That's what
Mhm.
we've had in the past, so that's what we were
Hmm.
planning on, so. If we think we have extra money, we don't have extra money.
Yeah. It's got that
Um,
giant sucking sound you
Right.
hear.
And, I included.
It being vacuumed up by the
It's
insurance
gone,
company.
Exactly. As an employee, I appreciate the health insurance,
Mhm.
but,
It's a brutal.
it's a
increase.
burden as
Yeah.
a taxpayer also.
Mhm.
I threw in a couple interesting facts, I thought that, New York State is the highest healthcare cost, Alaska is New York
Yeah.
State's number 2,
Mhm.
Alaska's number 1.
Fascinating.
I think it's because they probably have lack of doctors, no
Yeah.
competition.
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
And the highest demand drug right now is for diabetes.
Oh,
And also because a lot of people are using that for weight loss.
Ozempic,
So
very expensive.
it's very expensive because supplies are limited.
big
Right.
problem.
So
I will say in New York State's defense, you are a better protected healthcare insurance consumer than a lot of states.
Yes.
That is
right,
true.
It's very.
So it does cost a little for that, but you are getting screwed less by the insurance companies.
Yes. Yes.
It's kind of a hard to
Oh,
quantify what that's worth,
Right.
maybe not 14% increase, however, it is true.
It is the truth. The estoppel notice went out for the wastewater treatment plant. That's been published and their 20 days are up, so we are free and clear at any point in time to move forward on that. I received no petitions.
Imagine.
Mhm. I've been working with the chief and our IT on the routers for our cars. We're looking at some numbers for some upgrades right now, so
Might have a grant to cover that as well.
yeah.
So we're having some
boy, those
trouble.
are musical
nice? I
words,
know.
right? Rant to cover. Yes.
We're having some problems with some of their routers in their
Mhm.
In the cars,
in the cars.
Yeah.
So,
so we're trying to work
one
that
in
out.
particular, so we're kind of working out.
Well, that's what I had to add to my report.
How? Taxes, how
Yes.
short are we on what's?
That's pretty standard. If you, I'll share the list probably at the next board meeting.
That's fine, I didn't
And-
know how
but it's-
close we were.
That's
Part of
pretty
the course.
close, yeah. There'll be a few people that rush in at the last minute,
Then we'll have our regulars. at
but we
least.
have the regulars. Mhm.
Who think it
Who
just
are not
works
gonna
better.
rush in.
They're not gonna rush
I think this is their best financial move.
Yes.
Yeah. Anything else for Sal?
Thank you.
Thank you, Sally.
Yeah.
Okay, need a motion to accept department head reports.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Committee reports, and I bet we have a few out there.
We're gonna hear in about 2 weeks on CCA on community choice aggregation. There will be pricing information and potentially, if the price is right, a buy. And we will get that information a little before 2 weeks, and then we'll have a chance to discuss it and see what we think. And we'll get advice from Jewel on what they think we should do. And then we can decide how to proceed. That's coming soon. Also, for some reason, the state comptroller's office has put a hold on a number of grants, including the DEC grant that we're waiting for the charger, for the fast charger. So that is temporarily on hold because the money's held up. I'm in touch with the DEC person that manages those grants, and she said she doesn't know why there's a holdup, but as soon as they release the money, we're good to go. Everything is all set. We've got Apex is ready to install it. Everything's set. We're just waiting for the comptroller to release the funds. And that's just about it. Tim already covered the Court Street project and painting. We're gonna keep working on that and figure out how to continue that pop-up project. And,
Okay.
Any questions about anything in that area?
I was wondering if it was up long enough to get any feedback.
Not really.
Okay.
We're gonna repaint it in some fashion in the future and then keep going on the study. It was up for three and a half days,
Yeah.
and it's just not enough
No.
to get a decent idea. So we're gonna keep working on it. And
It's a bummer.
yeah, it was a bummer. We got a real hard rain that Monday night that just washed it away.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Who's next?
I can jump in here. I didn't write a lot down for economic development because I figured I'd piggyback on Lee's report. Because
she's
most
working
of
on the
what
DRI, yeah.
we have been working on has been DRI and New York Forward related.
Right.
So we've had some public sessions, we've met to do some work, we've been revising the vision statement.
We were at the farmer's market for 2 weeks.
We were at the farmer's market, some of us twice, some of us once. So we've, been trying to gather input from the community. Certainly Lee's office has been working really hard to, get projects. So, we met and, decided on a boundary and decided on the projects, based on the projects that had been submitted and what makes sense given the feedback that we have received from, the Regional Economic Development Council after not winning it last time, as well as feedback that we received from the consultant that the Department of State has hired to provide technical assistance to communities applying. So we met with them.
Friday.
And
That was very helpful.
she was fantastic.
Great. Very helpful.
And actually has her advice, I think, caused us to go back to the drawing board a little bit. And I think that we are probably only applying for the New York Forward. That we probably do not have the projects with the dollar amounts at the readiness level that allow us to make a really strong case for the DRI. But we feel like we probably make a pretty strong case for the New York Forward. So I think that that's the decision that we're headed for. It's possible that, we'll just submit for both and just see where it goes, depending on where we end up. But just, I think it's, fair to sort of say out loud that that's the direction that we might be going, just based on, the numbers and, yeah. So.
And readiness.
Readiness
Readiness is a big factor.
It is, they really, all of that language is very amorphous, what do you really mean, people? Just tell us what you really mean. But it's a big guessing game, and I think we all decided that we had to do things a little bit differently than we have been doing them because it hasn't been working.
Right.
And they keep telling us, oh, your application's great, but you don't get the
Well,
money.
and the fact
So-
remains, what the consultant said is a lot of the decision making is the regional economic development councils, and that's the most opaque part of it. Where we don't get that much specific feedback, we don't really know the process. I think you could interpret it as somewhat political. So
Mhm.
unfortunately, that
Mhm.
the decision, that part is still opaque, even with,
Mhm.
you know, I don't know.
They've always been
That's-
that way too.
So,
Only been through it once, but that's my thing, like, that's like the big
Mhm.
mystery, yet it's
Mhm.
maybe the most important part, but you do your
Right.
best.
so we do the best, right? And that's where I think this call with this, Department of State, consultant, was really helpful because she was able to give us advice, not, from a perspective of, okay, if you win, this is what happens, and this is how these are the kinds of things that get funded, and this is what we tend to see. And that has been some of the most useful advice, because then you can put that in your application and it looks like a winning application, right? So, so we're hopeful, but I'm sure that's what Lee is, that's due on,
Friday.
on Friday,
At 4
so
o'clock.
we're all working on our pieces of, revision and rewriting and of course the new stuff. So I think that is the big economic development stuff. I don't know what else there is for that.
I mean, we're gonna talk about the chamber thing later.
Exactly, that's on the
And
agenda.
New York Forward is how much?
So New York Forward is, it's up 5 million to each region. The development councils can decide if that's 2.5 million to 2 or 5 to 1. And what do I have there? I think I have that right.
So it comes back to the
The
region.
regional, it makes the decision.
Same process.
Same
just
process.
it's supposed to be focused on smaller communities.
Mhm.
What isn't a small community in St. Lawrence County?
Well, so these are the discussions we've had
I mean, Watkins Glen, the village of Watkins Glen, not to beat a dead horse, which has a population of less than $2,000, got the $10 million at one point, so.
Really?
yeah.
So, I mean, it's
Wow.
not like they've excluded Ticonderoga last year,
Mhm.
one in our region,
They're
so.
not big either.
So, I think we have sort of, it's very unclear where we fit, because in some sense, we're a little bigger, and in other sense,
They're not.
We're not, I mean,
we're
we're
not
not
big
an
at all.
urban
so
area.
We're not urban,
Yeah.
right?
But
Not
relative to, say, 40-mile
Watkins Glen,
radius, we're more urban than a lot of places, so.
But I will say that, the feedback that we did get, that we were able to sort of read between lines to grab at, really speaks to the importance of having a compact boundary. Not necessarily one that, one can argue that our entire village is quite walkable. Um, but, they want to see a very small, compact area perhaps. So, that means unfortunately that that may be that there are projects that have been submitted to us that aren't going to
To
make
be
it in
included.
because they're
They're
so
upset
much
about
further
it.
out that we can't make a solid justification, even though sort of, if you know us, like it's unwalkable,
Right.
So, yeah, that's where we're at with that. Communications and technology, the website, we are waiting on the designers for our next step. We're waiting for a draft of a site map. At which point our committee will,
Start crying.
I'm a little afraid of that moment, actually,
It's
but,
been nice not having it
yeah, it
here.
hasn't happened yet. It will come. So, once that's the piece of it that where we start to move, to decide what moves over and how it will be presented, right? So that's coming. The other thing is that we received, our audio visual, quote for updating the, courtroom downstairs, so that rather than simply saying we are, accessible, in this way, we would actually be, not to mention so that one person at one side of the table can hear the person at the other end of the table. Those quotes were high.
Hi.
$50,000.
More than that.
And they were.
Originally,
or-
but.
No, originally they
It
were,
was
70.
70.
But by the time you made a few changes, you were down around 50.
that's right.
Yes, okay, the original one. But
but
that one was like, tell us what everything would
Right,
cost
that's
and
the
we'll
wish
back
list.
off from there.
right. so I think that we are, that is certainly not something that we budgeted for. And I think that, we're sort of rethinking how we should handle that in light of those dollars. And of course, we're in here in this room and the owl works well in a setting like this. So I guess where we're at.
It's not really on the front burner anymore, I would say,
Yeah, I think maybe we're,
certainly in light of the insurance news too.
is in light of
Yeah.
other, yes, exactly. Infrastructure. So, then we have a couple things on the agenda, but, I did want to talk about stormwater briefly. Tim had, gotten, Barton and LeJudas.
Brian from Barton.
Brian, Barton and LeJudas, talked to us about stormwater. I think to make a lot of complicated stuff, simple in the way that I understand it. There's a couple pieces to the project. The piece that we have the most information about is, Cleveland. And, basically to address the issues on Cleveland is about $1.2 million. However, if we were to also add in some sidewalks that would on Cleveland and connect Cleveland to Judson via Milden.
Farmer, Goodrich. Yep. And
Yep, good.
Farmer. It puts us in a potential for funding.
That would bring perhaps the
Safe
villages.
routes to schools.
Yeah.
Safe routes to schools, yeah.
Mhm. Actually, it's a
Alternative
transportation
transportation, yeah,
alternatives program, TAP, it's federal.
Okay.
That would put us in the range of probably being able to do that work much closer to $500,000.
That's a
So,
lot. of
as you can
difference. That's a
see,
Nice math.
There,
right there.
isn't it though? So, I think that, we have some directions to start to move, like getting that application submitted and seeing if, perhaps. But of course, that also means we'll have to, talk to the community about, potentially putting sidewalks in and
Yeah, the neighbors.
we have some steps to get there. We need to, look at right away and stuff. So just so you know, that's out there and we're starting to think about how to wrap our minds around fixing the problem and also paying for it.
Yeah.
Um,
Some of the people in Cleveland would, be
appreciative.
Happy to have
regardless of whether or not a sidewalk is on it, your side.
I hope so. I mean,
$1,000 is a lot.
doesn't that improve one's
Yes.
property values when we do it? So I would imagine that
The road,
would be
yes.
helpful.
The Judson, and sorry not to cut you off, but
Nope.
in the Judson drainage analysis, basically. What they've come up with so far, it's not complete yet, we're waiting to get the complete report, but everything on there is old and undersized. Just to make it simple.
Yep.
Has to be.
Well,
And
the
they've looked
county
at
has,
everything right from the river up.
the county has
so.
expanded, more parking, a lot more runoff, all of it. None of that was upgraded. Is that correct?
Right.
Yep.
So we're waiting for the
Shouldn't be a
final report to
Imagine
kind of see what direction we're gonna head from there. And what maybe potential funding we can go after.
Yep.
For that.
Moving forward on the secondary water source, I guess. Yeah, I guess that's it.
Okay.
Rec,
Anybody
we had a meeting this week and yes, oh, yes. Just Megan updated us on pretty much her report, so, not really much else that, we're gonna sit down on the interviews tomorrow and golf, as I said, that is the contract's work in progress. I did have a long talk with Kevin today, about an hour and a half. Learned a lot of things. So we'll be getting together.
Okay.
Yeah, so, and, my goal would be to have something that we could approve at the next meeting, obviously.
Okay.
I mean, you could certainly sign it, I guess, before then, but we have to approve it, right?
Yeah.
So, okay.
Anything else?
Safety and. Am I good? To update on that? Okay.
We're in negotiations, that's all.
That's
Nothing
all.
more to,
We've been meeting several times.
nothing more really, nothing more to say.
Nothing more to say. That's what we're doing.
Well, thank you for doing that.
How about that?
Okay, communications and information, I have nothing, nothing from the county legislator. Old business, 64 Main, RFPs are out for. I'm thinking about what might be possible over there, other than what the original plan was. Somebody was up and took a tour today. That's all I can say. Waiting for RFPs to come back.
When are those due again?
I don't know,
I don't remember either. Okay.
early in October,
Sometime soon.
probably
Okay.
somewhere around. I have a copy of it.
That's all right.
Mary
I
Ann
think it's
handled it.
before our next meeting.
It
so
is,
That would be good
you know,
for us to, we'll be able. to talk
Somewhere,
about it.
somewhere around the second week, maybe.
Perfect. Great.
So, that's all I can tell you right now. There'll be, I'm sure there'll be a meeting of the joint committee to discuss it. 19 minor, I don't have much more to say right now. We do have a meeting set up for tomorrow, I think.
Yep.
Is it tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
3:00 or something? Yeah. To further discuss some of our strategies. Do you remember that? I think we're meeting here.
Pretty sure I have, I sent you the invite and you said yes.
I'm sure I did too. I'm just, I knew I had something on.
And yeah, and lo and behold, this is what it is.
Good thing you came tonight.
Do we have to bring snacks or anything?
Yeah.
I have every confidence it's on some electronic.
Yeah.
It's not there. Yeah, no, no.
Every
Thursday rings a bell.
Okay, community choice was already discussed.
Yep.
Next item is composting discussion.
I'm sorry, can we go back to community choice real quick? I just want to note that we had our meeting
our
on
public
the
input
20th, our
Wednesday, yeah.
public information session.
Last Wednesday.
Yeah.
And so
Following the rules.
that was a necessary step to engage a potential buy in October. We needed that session within 30 days of a.
You have to
of a buy.
keep doing it or you gotta start all over from there.
Right.
Good lord.
So
Yes.
it saved having several other meetings in
Yes.
a length of time.
Yeah.
So it just basically
It was all the same. that we
made the
figured out.
process. move
Yes,
ahead.
nothing.
So we're
How
all
many
set to
people
go.
attended,
Five.
4.
Oh,
Five.
good.
Four.
Yeah, 5.
Five.
Okay, there were some.
including you guys?
Including the-
Okay,
But
well,
I needed to
It
be
was
in the
done,
record.
that's fine.
Yeah, thank you.
Is there anything else you want to add to that?
No, thank you. I felt like that needed to be in the record. I appreciate that.
Yep, good thinking, Aaron.
Okay, next one is composting.
Everybody got an email about the proposal. Does anybody want a paper copy? Greg, do you have some paper copies of it?
About 5 or 6.
If anybody wishes a paper copy, Greg has them available.
I
otherwise-
have mine electronic.
You have them, everybody has them electronically.
Yeah. That's it.
Any thoughts off the bat, on it? I am recommending we do the basic. The basic project, and then we can discuss details and if we wanted the lockdown thing or the, there's other options we can discuss, but at this point, for partly to keep the costs down, I would recommend the basic one just to keep the site open and keep things moving. Be my recommendation.
So that's $796.24 a month.
Yes, that's the monthly. Yep. Oh, I've been hunting around for funding sources and I've got a couple things in the works, but nothing definite right now. Canton Community Fund, I was discussing with Barb. And that would be a possibility for next year. They've spent their money for this year, but it's a possibility for next year. And I'm looking into North Country Community Foundation as well. And they would be a possibility, and I'll keep looking, but I'll keep hunting for possible funding sources.
What about within our budget?
I haven't found anything definite within our budget. That's, I had a email exchange with Sally, and at this point, there's nothing definite that I found in the budget, but
That was the same day I had the insurance meeting.
Yeah, there's,
Right.
there's
Right.
several things, currently in
Yeah, we're,
conversations with our, one union. That will set a tone for the rest of our unions
Right.
that are coming up. So there'll be impact there. The other thing is, the healthcare increases. We had, a serious breakdown of an important piece of fire apparatus that, has to be repaired. It's in the process of being repaired. That will use up our increase in sales tax.
Right.
That we've received, so, and what we're talking about here is for, 3 months to try it. With no recommendation on where to fund it from. I will work on that. I think I can find something, but I can't guarantee that, after 3 months that we're gonna be able to continue on. I will dig and find something somewhere.
okay,
We're talking, what, $2,400 for 3 months?
roughly. I'm hoping by spring to have found some other sources that would help keep it going.
I don't wanna rain on this, I think there's, good things about it, and I think it's important stuff to do. I also think it's important that people do it at their own homes too. Because I think, in my mind, and this is just because I've done it, it's the most efficient, instead of driving your vehicle over to, dump your items in a bin somewhere, and then more people come and pick it up and transport it somewhere else. And it just seems like a lot of driving, to do that. Now,
We will encourage that, we'll try to educate people to help them do that at home and make available information about, containers and equipment they can use, and public education is part of this.
I'd really like to know who's using it too, if it's village people or
So
town
that's what we'll
people,
find
or,
out.
where
We're gonna
it's coming
find out how much material and who's using it is part of the data we'll be gathering. That's part of this, is to figure that out.
But is
so,
that in
but
the
that's
basic
not in the
proposal?
basic, that's more money. Right, so like, that's kind of where my concern is that the basic proposal, okay, that's one thing that keeps the site open, that, does the carbon, it does all of that. We're still not gonna know who's using it. We're not gonna,
Or if they're doing it correctly.
oh, we're not, like, the site, there's no site monitoring, which that's part of the issue up there, is
Yeah,
that
that's-
people have access to dump other things up
Well,
there.
that's been part of the problem. yes. I'm trying-
So.
How much extra is the site monitoring? What amount would that?
31.25 a week, right?
$425. And I would kind of suggest doing the container lockdown too, because that's really what's gonna.
It's gonna help.
Well, that's how we're gonna
Right.
get the data.
Right.
Right? That's the only way we get the data, if I understand correctly, is that the container lockdown is the way that you get people to communicate with you
call.
that they're using it, so then you know who they are.
Right.
That, I don't, that's the thing.
How much is the container lockdown?
482.
But what's
Definitely
that math
suggest
now?
If you're gonna do it, then add that on to it, so that's, we want the data, we wanna see what's going on. Then we'll have the weights that you're getting and how many people, I guess.
Yeah,
So,
You can take if there's 100 drop-offs and it costs us
So much.
$3,000,
Yeah.
then we're gonna say that's kind of crazy, so.
So it's
We'd have a
it's
better
like, it's
idea.
like 131 per week with the basic proposal and the lockdown, not the site monitoring.
I think if you have the lockdown, it makes the site monitoring less
Critical.
important.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you,
We could-
it's the with the lockdown, you get the monitoring, not
Mhm.
video, but
Mhm.
you control who
It
can use
controls
it.
it, yeah.
And you're, I
Well,
mean, it's
that's-
actually better because
Yeah.
they can't use it unless you give them
Yeah.
permission to. As opposed to the monitor where you're gonna be chasing after people or trying to identify them or
Right.
whatever.
So if you do that, I mean,
I guess I'd recommend the basic plus the lockdown,
that's more.
that
yeah.
feature with it would be what I'd
2,
recommend.
3,
So it's 2763.72 plus a one-time 107.
23, I see 2388.75
Right, so
One,
plus 375
plus one.
So that's- plus 107.
Or 107, sorry.
I have 2870.75.
Yeah.
That's what's on the spreadsheet.
So $3,000,
Right, basically.
so 1,000 a month. That's basically what we're looking at.
Well, I can only commit to, from my perspective, to doing 3 months.
Mhm.
And we're gonna have to reevaluate it.
Mhm.
I will find somewhere $3,000. But
Okay.
that, we're gonna be up against it.
Okay.
And
Well,
that's gonna be a problem.
I will hunt long and hard to find some funding for the new year.
And I really do
That's what I'll
think that, given the presentation from the green team,
Mhm.
there's some interest there.
Yeah.
I mean, there can be, that's project-based stuff,
Mhm.
that's a club. And I maintain that the FFA might be interested too, so.
Maybe they ought to collect all of it up at the high school then.
Well, the suggestion on that PowerPoint is the cafeteria.
Mhm.
Whether or not the school board's gonna go for that, who knows? But,
Mhm.
I mean, it's a public entity, so.
I thought that suggestion was about that they would collect from the, like, in the cafeteria to, more, like, that would be the school, not that our
Sure.
stuff would go there.
Well,
But, I mean,
But,
you know,
but.
there might be
they might
possibilities.
be-
Add to it.
Right,
Yeah.
Could people, the kids could bring stuff in that would add to the schools, the cafeteria scraps themselves.
yeah,
Sure, absolutely,
Yeah.
right.
Sure.
and I mean, I could check on this, St. Lawrence is pretty sustainable, and environmentally, conscious, so I'm sure we're doing composting too.
Mhm.
But,
Yeah, that would be great to find out if they could
yeah,
add stuff to it.
yeah, and I mean, I can't guarantee that, but that's some of the stuff that
I think that's come
I
up
think
in
it's good.
conversation and,
Could be
there's
helpful.
some problems with that.
With St. Lawrence.
Yeah. I
We'll
was
find out.
not
Mike-
offering
Mike
anything,
Iverson was on the call, but he's off now.
just to be clear.
I'll talk to him and see, he's their sustainability guy. I'll find out if there's possibilities with St. Lawrence. Mike would be on top of that. I'll talk to him.
The big thing for me is, we'll try this for 3 months. We've got to cut down on the junk that's been in there.
Yep,
The stuff that's been going up on the hill, that's a problem, and we have not solved with this,
yep.
because of the traffic.
Mhm.
But then we gotta find the funding, because it isn't gonna be there.
Yep. Casella is delivering 6 new containers next week. They are replacing the ones we have are not adequate. They have holes in them and stuff. And I talked to Casella today and they're gonna deliver good ones with no holes in them. And take back the bum ones. And they're gonna do that next week. So we'll have good containers to start with.
Well, I appreciate
Hmm.
the effort and the ingenuity and, the persistence to, keep at it. I share the mayor's concerns about costs at this point. I think.
Agreed.
So I think 3 months is good. I think that data that we get will be really telling in terms of, who is benefiting from this, service and, give us some direction where to go forward, but I do appreciate, that it would maybe be ideal if eventually it were moved off of village property, if it were and or funded with grant funding, so.
Well, and it gives you a little time too to see what maybe might percolate up from the school.
Exactly.
I think if kids get passionate about things, you'd be surprised what they can.
Right.
don't
Talk their parents
Right.
into.
Right?
Yeah.
Or shame them into,
Right.
even better, they could shame you into it. So,
Okay,
Right.
so we're good
Do we need a
with doing the
motion?
basic plus the
Yep.
lockdown, is that the consensus? Need a motion,
so moved.
second. All in favor?
I,
No one opposed?
Support. And, there is a lot of money out there, DEC, and I'm working with Jennifer of
From Anka,
hmm?
Jennifer from Anka, or which?
No, Jennifer works with Composter Good.
Oh, okay.
He is just sent me an email like.
Oh, Jen Perry,
Yeah.
Jen Perry, yeah,
Perry.
sure.
She sent me an email last week about there's some funding that
Mhm.
they're gonna be putting through the survey.
Mhm.
And hope that, there's a lot of money out there for this sort of thing.
Well, we'll work on rounding some of that up. I know Jen.
That would
Jen
be
has helped
great.
us in the past.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep,
All right.
we'll talk to Jen and other sources and
Alright.
keep working on the funding.
Perfect.
So
Yep.
I'm assuming I'll send you some kind of a written agreement.
Yep. Do you wanna, the proposal that we have, that you have in your email, Mike, is that adequate? You wanna use
Yeah,
that?
if Sally's, you okay with that?
Sure.
Or we'll
You
just
want-
initial the pieces.
Initial, yeah.
Greg has paper copies, if you wanna,
I'll print them off.
you'll print them up, okay,
Yeah.
okay, great,
We can add a signature.
Yeah,
line.
we'll add a signature line to it.
Yeah.
okay,
Okay,
super. I guess we're good.
Bingo.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
okay, on to new business. First item is authorized payment of vouchers and transfer of funds. I need a
So-
motion.
second,
All in favor?
I,
Anyone opposed? Okay, we took care of Josh Vine. Next item is to discuss and approve moving Jason Robert to the title Light Equipment Operator. We received a recommendation from the superintendent to do that.
So move.
second,
Further discussion? All in favor?
I,
Any opposed?
Effective like tomorrow. When is that effective?
You can make it tomorrow. Is that
Maybe the
payroll?
next
That's the
payroll.
first day.
Payroll, so yes,
Starts
that's,
tomorrow.
If you can move them, move them.
that's what I'm asking.
Right.
And for the following what you're.
Yeah, the next one.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, the next one is moving Lean Anson to the title Working Foreman two. Same
So
recommendation.
second,
This is basically to promote employee health and growth for both of these positions, movements.
All in favor?
I,
Anyone opposed? Starting
Thanks,
tomorrow.
Cory. Thanks, Greg. Thank you. See you guys.
Yep, thanks, guys.
Okay, next item is to approve issuing an RFQ for engineering services for our sewer project. I sent you a draft around of that, let's see, where to go. There it is.
The RFQ. I have to find one.
And basically I had a template to use.
Yeah,
yeah.
And based on that template, that's how I proceeded. Sally did a little editing. I think I sent it to you to make sure that you were all set. Everybody, it was sent to everybody.
it was sent to everyone, yeah. I am all set with one minor change. Is there,
Is there a period somewhere that we missed or?
No,
a hyphen or-
that,
Was your name in there?
my name is not in there. No, I'm wondering, our board meeting in October is
The 18th.
is the 18th. I'm wondering, is there a specified amount of time this has to be out? Could we maybe just have those come back on the 16th, which would give the infrastructure committee maybe a chance to make a recommendation at our board meeting?
Mhm.
Timing wise,
I don't
will that
care.
work out?
It's worth a try.
I just won't be available on the 18th.
Right,
But if we had the 16th.
but you,
16th or 17th, yes.
so.
Yeah.
All the more reason
What day
then,
would you like it?
the 16th, please.
16th is a Monday.
Works for any,
Monday or
Why is
Tuesday.
that a?
So I'm just saying, the 16th is a Monday. It's
Oh.
not a bad thing.
No, I was like, why is that?
Just said it's a
problem?
Monday.
Well, it's a Monday, yes.
It's a Monday.
It's
You're
just
like,
a
that's a
statement.
fact,
Another magic
Anna.
Monday.
Yes, I got
Just
you.
a statement.
Okay, you got it, yes.
Say it.
I was like, you don't, yeah, yes, agreed, it's a Monday.
This is one of the required steps
Isn't there a song
involved.
Monday?
This is one of the required steps involved for funding.
Yeah.
And it's just a requirement and.
Yep.
I was just thinking, it gives you two.
Exactly,
Yeah.
that's what I was, if we do it on Monday, then we have time to meet and we can make
Yeah.
a recommendation for the board meeting.
There you go.
Maybe,
Yeah.
hopefully.
Yeah, let's shoot for that.
Potential.
Sounds good.
Okay,
Okay, great.
Monday it
Do you need
is.
a,
Yes.
I'll take a motion to move it forward.
so moved?
Second.
Any further discussion? In favor?
Aye.
Any
Okay.
opposed? Okay, with that change.
I should have been.
One item is sale of excess equipment, as a result of some of the things that we're doing, we're trying to keep some of the old stuff moving out of here. You have a few things that you would like to
Yep.
put up for auction,
We'll have the back truck, the current one. that
the old
we had,
back truck,
The
yeah,
old one, and then we freed up a few more golf items too.
okay.
Oh,
Anything
darn.
specific?
There's a couple fairway mowers they had.
Okay.
I've asked Scott to make sure they're ready to go and it's all functional.
Okay.
Okay.
Motion to
So
approve
moved.
Second.
for the discussion. All in favor?
Get rid of
Aye.
the junk. Well, not,
Well,
get rid of the
well,
stuff that can be.
I think it's
used for-
important, it's important that we're doing that,
No, I
Yes.
agree with
instead
you.
of sitting.
Just
Yeah,
having a
for
junk
sure.
pile,
Good
yeah.
point.
Right,
Yeah,
because if it's
absolutely.
functional now and it doesn't get used for a year, it might not be.
Still worth a few bucks.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Anything sits for 6 months now, it won't even run and
Yeah.
Right.
you still have money getting it going again.
Also, anybody that would like to, admire the new vac truck, it is something to behold.
Mhm.
I don't know.
It's pretty giant. It's like, and it's the right time of year because it's almost Halloween and it's a big old pumpkin.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Right,
Hey, I'm coming over.
right. Do it soon, do your viewing soon.
We
Um,
drive around when we got her all cleaned up.
There you go.
Before we use it.
Suck up leaves.
Yes, we could.
It'll do a lot of things.
If anybody ideas out there.
Oh, yeah, no
What,
kidding.
what,
Can you
what
imagine?
day is Halloween?
Yeah.
Oh. Chief, you know that.
The next item
Monday.
is, next item is Chamber of Commerce agreement.
Okay.
That was circulated just recently.
So,
For your viewing pleasure.
for your, yes, reading and viewing pleasure. So, a couple of things about this. I actually realized after I circulated that really what we need to do is rather than state that the compensation will be,
Yeah.
you're fine, per year, is that we need to say how much the dollar amount is, and then we need to, in terms of the agreement, say when the agreement will end, which would be the last day of our fiscal year. The idea would be that we would, obviously consider contracting with them again for the next year.
Mhm.
But
But
this,
basically, the amount we have in our budget for this year is through the end of our
Fiscal
year,
year,
and
yeah.
that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Not a
So tying it
yearly
to our
amount.
fiscal year.
yes,
Yes.
Yeah.
it is tied to
To
our
our
fiscal year.
Correct.
You didn't get this ahead of time.
I got it
Yeah.
a while ago, yeah.
Yeah.
Did you? Okay.
At least
Okay.
a week ago. 'cause
Okay,
I made
okay.
comments,
Yep,
right?
Yep, you
This,
got it.
nothing's changed since. right?
nothing except for what I'm just saying right now.
Okay.
So the
Yeah.
comments that you made are attached.
Yes, the comments, right, so I made the change to add the per year.
Mhm.
But after that, I realized that we're not really contracting to do this per year. What we're contracting for is the remainder of this year, and there's an end date. And
Yep.
so that's what we need to put in there.
Okay.
So
And
I'm
then we
gonna
will
make
have a new
those
agreement.
changes and send that to
Okay.
so a couple of things I just want to say by way of background as folks are thinking about this. Certainly thank you, Scott, for looking all of the, whereases and all of that stuff. What's important, I think, really for the board to consider is Exhibit A, which is the services. This is our opportunity to contract with the county chamber to provide these services, to the business community and to the community. The merger, all four entities, the county chamber, the Canton chamber, the Ogdensburg chamber, and the Messina chamber, all four voted to merge and be one chamber. The only thing that they are waiting for is the official merger stamp of approval from the Department of State. We don't know when that will happen. The chamber is, I spoke with Ben today, he offered to be here. I felt like we didn't, maybe, the only thing, so that's sort of the only thing that's outstanding that makes the merger official. But they are moving forward anyhow, so they're doing interviews next week for the,
Her on Catherine?
no.
Oh, okay, I
Yeah.
thought that was.
They're moving forward for interviews next week for the employee that will essentially be the Canton representative, the halftime, whole time because they're here, but halftime, and then their other, they are specifically Canton based, and then the rest of the time they are using their skills for the good of all
greater
in the
good, yeah.
county, yeah. And of
likewise,
course, we
work
benefit from the skills
from
of
the
the
others.
others, right? So that's where they are. They also let me know that they are currently moving ahead with events that would be planned for this time this year anyhow, which is really good to know that that's not getting lost in translation, including Phantoms in the Park. Apparently, Amy is, Plumador is taking the lead to make sure that happens. Remington, the Remington Festival is in two weekends. For whenever it's coming, 2 weekends. I think it's the weekend of the 7th.
Is that the same weekend they're doing the Brown Bear?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's the same weekend that, Mother Council is here.
And then, also like Flannel Fest, right? If anybody enjoys Flannel Fest,
I love Flannel.
I love Flannel Fest too.
Good.
So, this, this is, so it's good. And one of the reasons I mention those things is because, we've been having lots of conversations about, ensuring that a lot of these community events that may not be business focused specifically
Economic
are
development focused,
either transition to an appropriate community partner that would make sense to continue these things because they are important to the community, or that sort of the pieces of them that could be created to more effectively benefit the businesses, that component would be added to those events. So those are some of the things that we tried to put into this. We ensured that, reference to all of our planning, our comprehensive planning, our master trail plan, our BOA, all of these is in there so that, knowing that, activities that go on, attention should be you know, paid to these documents that we have, you know, our community has created. Um, so yeah, so I guess, you know, I would like to know from the board if there are other things, if there are concerns with these services, if there are other things that are missing. What the
We've
board would
talked
like
about
to
it for a
do.
while.
We have talked about it for a
lot.
long time.
I guess I'm comfortable with what you've done.
Okay.
Looks good, you know,
Really good.
Does Ben understand how how we will approach this in terms of, you know, an annual contract or?
So yes, that it's yes to the annual contract, but we've talked about reporting and payment schedule being quarterly.
Okay,
So, because that way, you know, we're in much more closer sort of communication.
Okay.
So the idea and the schedule is worked out, I think
yeah, I
we,
saw that.
somewhere in here. It's worked out, I sat with Sally to get dates. To when
May,
all the-
August, November and February.
Yes, thank you.
So we would begin then
October 1.
October. Okay.
That's kind of what and that sort of, you know, I think enables the county chamber to begin, you know, providing these deliverables.
Right.
And we can kind of get a sense for how it goes
So-
before we move into thinking about next year.
Awesome. So is this something that Ben collaborated with you on?
Yes, yeah,
I
he's,
imagine that they're similar to Ogdensburg and Messina too.
I mean, I would assume, the original document came from him.
Got it.
So I asked for what they were looking for, and then we basically, went through the
This
the
exhibit A.
the exhibit A, the
Yeah.
services, and
The front end is.
spent a lot of
boilerplate, I
time on
think, yeah.
what the deliverables would
Right,
be. What is
right.
it that we're really looking for?
No, awesome.
Okay,
Thank you for that.
so you want approval now to move forward?
I mean, if the board is up for
You're
that,
gonna start October 1.
I mean, that would
So
work
moved.
for us.
Oh, there you go.
So
Got a
moved.
motion.
I think you should second it.
Second.
Yeah, it's you,
There you
baby.
go. Any further
Alright.
discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Great.
Thank you for all that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good job putting that all together.
The next item was to approve, B and L for seeker for drinking water projects. That's taken a little turn. Um,
Dun, dun, dun. Feel like we should have dramatic music.
so I think, well,
Right?
you wanna?
Oh, go ahead. You.
No,
By all
Well, no,
means.
we're gonna slow that one down a little bit. There's some things we're doing with, Aaron, and with NEPA required on our secondary source and trying to get that moving. We had a meeting today.
Aaron.
Jarvis.
Jarvis. We had a meeting today with Aaron. There was a little miscommunication somewhere along the line.
Okay.
My email to him about a change in how we're gonna do seeker generated a quick response.
Okay.
I think we're on a little different track right now for this. There are some things that could be problematic with B and L jumping in and trying to do it without, you know, actually redoing a pre-engineering report again. They may come up and look at and walk the, you know, the project or drive the project. So we're a little up in the air on how we're gonna approach this. So we just wanted to take the time to let you know that, you know, there's a little curveball there. We are working towards finalizing things for the secondary source. Back on track with NEPA. And filing the final documents with Department of Health. Timing is such so that we plan to go to bid on the secondary source by February.
Oh, that's great.
So we will be doing 2-week updates on status. There's several things we're working on. Lee and I are working on to get the secondary source going. And then we're gonna push on this, the rest of that.
Okay.
But it's gonna require some more discussions with myself and Tim maybe even you,
Maybe,
maybe.
maybe.
But I wanna, Tim has reached out to B&L and had some conversations and, there's still, I think there's a little bit of things we have to work out before we go forward and prove that. We didn't have a number to give you either for
Right. We didn't have a
quote, so
number.
that was another
Yeah.
piece that,
So
I
to
think-
be continued.
to be continued.
Dun, dun, dun.
Any questions?
No,
Okay,
thank you.
the, next item was the accepted resignation of our rec employee, Robert Helms.
So,
Yeah.
Second.
He's gone.
yeah,
Sorry.
no, he did some great work for us, so I hope he, find success in his next adventure.
I'm sure. Second,
Second.
all in favor?
I,
Aye. Anyone opposed? Okay, we wanted to, formalize the purchase of the vac truck. It's here. And really what we wanted to do was make sure that this is really a change to the budget. The money was there, it was allocated to CHIPS, it's a CHIPS appropriate purchase. We won't be able to buy another vac truck for another 10 years if we use CHIPS money. So,
Let's hope we don't have to buy a new vac truck for 10 years.
well, either way, you can't, you
He's
wouldn't be
gonna
able to.
keep pumpkin shining, right?
That's why it's on the agenda tonight.
Okay.
After the purchase was made. But it was a timing issue and everything else, so.
Do we have to?
So I just need approval to, adjust the budget, so CHIPS is used towards that. So move,
second.
all in favor?
I,
Right.
Any opposed? Okay,
And can I just say, like, good work to Tim on being tenacious on that and finding a way.
Oh,
That didn't require us to try to,
no, he was persistent and he,
Finance it.
got creative.
yeah.
Where did that come from, Tim?
Town of New Hartford.
Oh.
Utica, basically.
It's a really nice looking rig. It's 5 years old, very low hours on it. I think it's gonna be very helpful. And I gotta give Tim credit certainly. For his thinking and leadership on it, so. Okay, and the additional is to approve recreation hire Bradley Frank. That hire is at $16 per hour.
so moved.
Second. Further discussion? All in favor?
I.
Anybody opposed?
Better not.
I mean, after waiting 2 years to even get an application.
So this
You
is
do,
the
you
part-time.
can start working.
The last item is public comment. Do I have any public?
Yeah, he's gonna send- no public.
One,
There's no
two,
public left.
three. None in, no public comment. Okay. I need a motion to an executive session for a personnel issue.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
I.
Any opposed? Jim, can you stay, please? Thank you, everybody.
Good night.
Good night, thank you.
See you, Cindy. Okay.